We are examining the readback of a statement made by Anthony Gerard Maguire to members from Garda Síochána in association with Homeland Security agent Matt Katsky. So just very briefly, here's a little clip just to remind you of the main protagonist in this. It's Anthony Gerard Maguire in the video, and Garda you hear speaking is Detective Mark Phillips.
Okay, good morning, Anthony. Mark Phillips is my name. I'm the Detective Sergeant with the Irish Garda, the police in Ireland, yeah. And we've met here today, and you have agreed to meet us, and that you look to speak to us today in relation to an incident that happened to you on St. Patrick's Day. And you agreed to make a statement in that matter, and we have recorded that statement in writing. We're going to read it back over to you, and if there's anything that's not correct, if we have recorded it, that you want to clarify, change, if you want to alter anything, you can feel free to do that, and we'll make a note of it there, and we'll ask you to sign it at the end, okay? And we're just recording the readback of the interview on this camera here. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so we have statement of Anthony Gerard Maguire.
So there you have the two main protagonists in this video, and where we have already looked at some of this readback of this statement. And today, very simply, to keep it brief and short, we're going to run through a legal document from the PSNI, and this is the reason this man here, Anthony Gerard Maguire, should not have been allowed to stay in the United States of America. So bring up this document here. As you can see, it's an officer's report. It's from the PSNI, and it's Detective Inspector McGrory, and it's from DS Detective Sergeant Rayan, and that's at Gough Barracks. And the subject is Anthony Gerard Maguire, and this date is on the 18th of April 2018. So this is in response to information requested by Aaron's then solicitor Neil Manley. So we're just going to run through what's in this information in these PSNI documents, and we'll see exactly why Anthony Gerard Maguire should not have been allowed to stay in the United States of America. So on Garda Síochána requested research in relation to the following individual, Anthony Gerard Maguire, and that's his date of birth, and there's a number there. I'm not sure if that's his, what number that is. So specifically requested to address the following points. Details of an incident from November 2013 which may relate to Mr. Maguire regarding alleged supply of drugs and or ammunition. So we can see there the investigating officer, Detective Constable Hugh McKay, on Monday the 4th of November 2013, police conducted a search on the warrant by virtue of Section 23 of the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971, and the address has been redacted there. So continue on to this paragraph. Megan Woods, the tenant of the property, was present in the house along with a young child. During the search, a number of suspect items associated in the supply of drugs were found, along with a quantity of suspect drugs in the kitchen of the house. In an upstairs bedroom within the property, a jar was located containing white talcum powder and a number of rounds of ammunition. A quantity of fireworks consistent with personal use was also located within the house. Anthony Maguire returned to the house during the search. So obviously, Anthony Maguire was sharing this house with his then partner, Megan Woods. So the following is the exhibits. You can see the list here. Fireworks, suspect fireworks, one suspect fireworks, 1 times bag of suspect herbal cannabis, suspect white substance, 2 clear plastic bags, 2 times bags of suspect white substance, 1 times 2032 wash bag, SE10 money bags, 1 times set of digital scales, 1 times bag of white powder. So HMK3, and now we're going to move on. That's the first page. So I suppose just very quickly, as I say, Mr. Maguire was sharing this property with his partner and child, whom he subsequently, after this event, abandoned. But we'll come to that again. So the second page in this PSNI document, pre-prepared statement, Anthony Maguire. We've never had that. We've never had access to that statement of Anthony Maguire's. Exhibit KG, coffee jar containing suspect white powder and ammunition opened and repackaged. Following forensic examination, drugs were confirmed and valued as follows. Cannabis 16.43 grams, £160 to £320. Cocaine 165 grams, 22,500 to £33,900. Mr. Maguire provided a pre-prepared statement in which he said that he had found the drugs in a jar containing the powder and ammunition in a hedge the week previously. Wasn't he lucky? However, he had early made an unsolicited comment to uniformed colleagues stating that he was holding the drugs for a gang in Dublin and he had no other choice. So he was willingly holding on to these drugs. He was supplying drugs. He is and was a drug dealer. Anthony Maguire was released to be reported to the Public Prosecution Service, who subsequently confirmed the following offences: possession of Class A drugs with intent to supply, possession of Class B controlled drug, possession of Class A controlled drug, possession of ammunition in suspicious circumstances. Now, this is also very important here that we realise that shots were fired at Mr. Maguire's house on the 10th of November 2014. So this is just a little less than a week after the police had raided his home and the police had obviously confiscated the contents which we have just listed. So shots were fired at Mr. Maguire's house on the 10th of November 2014. 3 spent shotgun cartridges were located. This was linked to the drugs. However, no person was convicted in relation to this. So obviously someone was very unhappy that Mr. Maguire had lost the goods and took it upon themselves to fire 3 shots at his house and at the vehicle outside of the house. So we have to take this in the context that it should be taken in. Is Anthony Gerard Maguire anxious to make a return down to South Armagh, to Mike and the Newry area? I doubt it very much. We do believe this debt is still outstanding. The investigating officer in the case, Detective Constable Hugh McKay, has confirmed the following. Mr. Maguire absconded and failed to answer police bail and has been alerted as wanted since this date. A court summons has also been issued in relation to his non-attendance at court. The case remains outstanding. So, as we have always said, this is the character Brendan Grehan, Mark Phillips, Lorcan Stain and Pat Murray want us to believe is good, upstanding citizens. And here we have Mr. Maguire absconding after being caught with these drugs, shots fired into his house, and he abandons his partner and child. And Brendan Grehan pontificates in the court that these are good people that are coming forward to give testimony against Aaron Brady. So our solicitor at the time, Mr. Manley, asked a couple of very simple questions. You can see them here at the bottom of this sheet. Are there any ongoing investigations being conducted by the Police Service of Northern Ireland re Mr. Maguire? And the answer to that is, as above, Mr. Maguire remains alerted in relation to the offences, so he is wanted. He is on the wanted list. Is Anthony Maguire wanted by the PSNI in relation to any criminal investigation? Are there any charges pending against Anthony Maguire in the north of Ireland? As above, Mr. Maguire remains alerted in relation to the offences listed above. So yes, Anthony Maguire was wanted for possession of drugs, cocaine, ammunition and cash. And Mr. Maguire, as we say, absconded, left Ireland and found himself in a situation in front of Mark Phillips. And I think anyone who has watched the video, is Anthony Gerard Maguire a willing participant in that statement? Now, we don't see him now. It's very important we keep reminding you, the public, of this. We don't see the statement being taken. We see a read back of the statement. Does that appear that Anthony Gerard Maguire is a willing and happy participant in that statement? When we see Anthony Gerard Maguire sitting in the back of the Jeep, an SUV on the side of the street in New York, and with another statement being read back to him, does he look like a willing and happy participant, an upstanding member of the public who's come forward to involve himself in solving the most brutal murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue? So, from the video we've seen and the read back of the statement and these documents we have shown you here today, the question is very simple. Should Anthony Gerard Maguire have been allowed to stay in the United States of America? The answer to that question is very simple. He should have been on the next available flight, just the same as his mate Daniel Cahill. Just the same as his cousin Christopher Morton. So that's just another little bit of detail in respect of Anthony Gerard Maguire. The next video we're going to look at in relation to Mr. Maguire and the Garda taking the statement, Mr. Mark Phillips, we'll be looking at the interactions of Mr. Phillips with Anthony Gerard Maguire. And in Mark Phillips's own words, he will be telling us about his interactions, that he had interactions with the PSNI in respect of Anthony Gerard Maguire. So that's a little bit more on Anthony Gerard Maguire. Please like, comment and share. I think everyone following Aaron's campaign are fully aware that we are being severely shadow banned, and Aaron's social media platforms are being attacked. Why? Because we're telling the truth. Again, we'll mention this. If Anthony Gerard Maguire, his family, his legal representatives have any issue with us highlighting these events and highlighting and calling them out as a dirty, rotten liar, telling lies to save himself, we're more than willing to have discussions with anyone at any given time. So that's not a problem. So that's something we should point out, because it's very obvious if these were, as Brendan Graham, this man here, Brendan Graham, told the Irish public that these were good, honest, decent people who had a conscience, had a moral compass, and were coming forward to shed light on the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. Brendan Graham is a liar. Brendan Graham would have known the level of scumbags Mark Phillips, Pat Marry, Paul Gill and Jim McGovern were dealing with. More than aware. All he had to do was look at the videos. He would have known. He would have known about their criminal records. So we'll see you again in the next video, and we look at Mark Phillips and his knowledge, confirmed knowledge of Anthony Gerard Maguire's past. And we'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you.